Okay. We'll call this meeting of the board of supervisors, town board together. John, you want to lead us in the, can you see the flag?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to welcome everybody tonight. We are going to have a public hearing, but the first thing we're going to do is approve the minutes of the September 14th town board meeting. So a motion by Councilman Larkin, second by Councilman Alexander. Discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, I asked to read the clerk on the legal notice on the public hearing tonight.
For the town of Warrensburg, fiscal year 2023. Notice is hereby given that the Warrensburg Town Board will hold a public hearing on October 12th, 2022, beginning at 7 p.m. at the Warrensburg Town Hall concerning proposed local law number 1 of 2022. Proposed local law number 1 of 2022 overrides the tax levy limit under the New York General Municipal Law, Section 3-C for the town of Warrensburg for the fiscal year 2023 and authorizes the Warrensburg Town Board, after completing all required procedures for the adoption of the budget, to adopt a budget for fiscal year 2023 that allows the tax levy that is greater than the tax levy limit calculated for 2023 pursuant to the General Municipal Law, Section 3C. A copy of the proposed local law is on file in the town clerk's office. Please take further notice that all interested parties will be heard at this time and place. Published September 21st, 2022.
Okay, I'll open up the public hearing. Anybody would like to comment on the override of the tax cap for 2023? Well, I'll give you a little explanation on why we're in this predicament. Like every community around us, we've had to create an ambulance district. When you create an ambulance district, that becomes part of your figuring of your tax cap, even though it's a special district. And it's similar to the fire district, but it falls under preview of the town board. It's not, doesn't have a board of fire commissioners to do that. So when I went through the tax cap and we came set on the amount of money that we're going to provide to the emergency squad for service going forward for 2023, and I figured out the tax cap, we are going to be $325,475 over the allocation of what we can raise in taxes for the next year. Basically, we have allocated $345,000 for EMS to get them off the ground for a full-time service for next year. So as I promised the taxpayers, it would be under $1, and I would try to hold it down as low as I could. So figuring the cap, we actually aren't up to the limit, and it's not 100% because of what we're giving to the squad. 325,000 out of 345,000 is what we're going to be over. So that's the reason to override the tax cap. It does have some ramifications in the future. Obviously, we won't have any carryover next year to start with, but we knew this time was coming. We just don't have the assessed value to absorb this type of increase in our budget. So that's the reason why we're asking the okay to override it, which we'll do later on in the meeting. But if I will answer questions of the public the best I can, if anybody has any questions. It's not something we enjoy doing, but it's something we have to do in order to provide EMS service long-term for the town of Warrensburg. John, any questions?
No questions, but just statements that it's time we do this, I think, so that the squad has a chance of keeping their good people. All the squads are struggling, sharing employees, and employees weren't getting any benefits that they strongly deserve. So all townships are doing this, and it's we have to bite the bullet and do it. And of course, inflationary reasons also. high inflation's causing another factor of it, but something we'll get through it.
Right?
No, I agree 100%. The squad's pretty busy, it looks like, you know?
Yeah.
So we got to stand behind it. It's an important asset to our community.
Rich?
When we look at our own budgets in our own homes and we watch the fuel oil prices going up and all the other things, the electricity's going up, it's easy to see how a town could be in the same circumstances, our own homes. And therefore, I support the measure to go over the tax cap.
You won't see a big increase in any of the other tax rates, but your bill will go up. And like I said, it's probably going to go up around 97 cents on a $100,000 home, so, or $97 on a $100,000 home. It's just the way it is. And but as I met with the board of directors of the emergency squad and talked to them about it, in the future, I'm hoping we can keep the rate. Will either reduce, or if we get some increased assessed value, we won't have to do tax rate increases every year. Because in all actuality, when we have our budget hearing on the town's only going to go up a penny. And the other big increase will be in the lighting district, which is the nickel, but everybody knows what's happened to the price of energy. So that's it. If there's no questions from the public or nobody online or that has any questions, going once. Okay, we'll close this public hearing. We'll move on to our next. I have Amy Langworthy, Superintendent of Schools, here to speak about the building renovations. And if you want to do that, Amy, and Jen Switzer, who is the business manager at the school.
Great, thank you. I want you guys to be able to see these two, so I'm gonna put these over here, I think, so everybody can see
Okay.
them. Sorry. And I did bring some,
Handouts.
I did bring some newsletters that everybody got from the mail and postcards on the back table. You're welcome to pick those up if you'd like to when you leave. So just want to introduce myself, and I'll let Jen introduce herself a little bit as well. So I'm Amy Langworthy. I'm the superintendent of schools in Warrensburg as of last January. Just a little bit about myself is I was born in Warrensburg, went off to school and came back to the area, have lived here after college, a couple years after college since then. I have 4 children who've gone through the Warrensburg school. Well, 3 have made it through, 1 has yet to be seen. I started my teaching career. I taught for 10 years in the Burnt Hills Ballston Lake School District. I then served as a middle school principal in Waterford Half Moon, came a little bit further north to Glens Falls City School District, and worked doing administrative work district-wide in the 4 elementary schools and middle school, doing teacher training, curriculum work, program development. And then I was here as the elementary principal for 15 years before taking over as a superintendent last January. So just a little bit about myself and who I am, so that, my background.
Jennifer Switzer. I started at the school district, it'll be 3 years on November 1st. My predominant background is actually municipal. I was the budget officer at the town of Queensbury. I was also the treasurer of the city of Glens Falls earlier in my career, and I actually sat where these gentlemen are as a council person for the town of Queensbury for a few years as well. Again, predominantly municipal. Decided to make the jump into school district. There's a lot of similarities. I'm married. My husband, who has been in education his entire life, just retired as a Queensbury High School principal. So although I haven't worked for a school district very long, I have, through a lot of osmosis, picked up a lot about school districts and just being active in my community. And that's pretty much my background.
Okay, so I asked Mr. Garrity if we could come, and we don't get a lot of public participation at our school board meetings. So Jen and I decided that we would go out into the community and reach out. We presented at the fire department the other night, and then we had our public community forum at the high school. last night, which some of you were at. And so tonight we decided that we would present to the town board so you could learn a little bit more about our upcoming capital project vote, which is on October 25th. And we want to give you a brief, and certainly feel free to interject and ask questions as we go through the presentation. Talk a little bit about our upcoming capital project and what it means for the facilities in our district and programming for students that we're looking to do some upgrades to. So mainly the focus is, well, one thing is the project itself, the total budget is a $13.5 million project. The nice thing is that the district, the Board of Education, previous boards of education and current boards of education and administration has done a really good job of doing some really good financial planning. So there's zero impact to the tax cap for any of you. So it won't impact your taxes, which is good news for all of us for sure. So with that said, I'm going to do a little overview of each building and what we're planning on doing. And I'll point out some of the images on some of our posters. We do have these in both buildings in the district as well. So, but the focus of the project really is on infrastructure needs, health and safety needs, and programming for students. So a good portion of the capital project is schools are required to do building condition surveys that are updated every 5 years. So we have companies that come in, look at all of our facilities in the district, you know, not just our elementary and high school, but also our bus garage and our maintenance buildings and things like that, and take a look at what's going to be a need of repairs or upgrades or changes to it over the next 5 years. And that's a requirement. It has to be submitted to state ed. So many of the infrastructure and health and safety needs came about as a result of the building condition survey. Okay. So in our elementary school, at that building, we're mainly focusing on health and safety and infrastructure needs. We did do some classroom renovations in the last project. At the high school, in the last project, we did the auditorium, which I hope if you haven't had an opportunity to see it, that you will at some point. It's really a nice facility for our community. And now with COVID kind of hopefully on the downslope, there'll be more opportunities for the community to actually use it. We also upgraded our cafeteria and our library as well at the high school too. But in our elementary school, some of the things that we need to do are our parking areas need to be redone, resurfaced. The last time they were done was, I think, in about 2007. There was a capital project that was done when the circle was redone and the elevator was installed, was the last time that those parking areas were had anything done to them. So the back parking lot where the buses come in, the front where the parents park need to be resurfaced and upgraded. So that's one of the areas that we'll look at. The columns in the front of the elementary building, at the top, I can't remember the technical term, something with a porch and something like that. But you can see they're structurally cracking and they need to be obviously repaired. So they've been there for a long time and they've held up well, but they do need to be taken care of before it becomes unsafe, or they would have to come down and something completely done. So at this point, we can still repair them. So that needs to be done. Windows, we have about 80 some windows in our elementary school that either don't open or when they open, they just come down. So we have some signs on them that say which ones are usable and which ones are not. So they need to be upgraded to a safer window and one also that has that are more efficient too. And all of this information too that I'm sharing on our website, our school website, we did put a capital project link on our website along with a video that has a little overview of the project and all the elements of the project with some of all of these images are included there as well. And we'll use that site to keep updating the community, the school community and the public on how our project is coming along as we get into it. So the baseball field at the elementary on Library Avenue is very close, as you all know, to the road. So we're looking to install some netting that goes along the fence line so that balls that are hit will be stopped by the netting and won't go out into the road, which hopefully will make it safer for both our players and our spectators. We're gonna do the same thing at the high school as well with the girls softball field. As you know, that's also next to the road. The balls go onto the roadway, and cars really do go too fast on both of those roads. So we're going to install some similar netting at the high school softball field as well. The terrazzo floor, which is the main floor in the corridors and in the lobby area of the elementary school, which actually has held up extremely well over the years, but there are some areas in the building that the terrazzo floor needs repairing, so that will be another piece of the project as well. Ceilings in the 64 wing of the elementary school, which is the 5th and 6th grade wing, in the classrooms, if you go in, a lot of them are sagging, they're staying, they're in need of repair, they haven't been. We did do, in the last project, we replaced all the floors in those classrooms, and they needed to have some abatement done because of the glue that was in the tiles. So we abated all of those rooms, and we did install new tiles in those, but at this point, the ceilings need to be done as well. So those will all be replaced as part of the project. And electric, with all the technology that we have, even though we have added some additional electric, it's really not enough or not sufficient. So we're going to be looking to add some electrical sources throughout the building in the elementary school that hopefully will allow all of the technology that everybody wants to use to be able to use in the classroom, and kids will have access to electric to charge devices and things like that. And the fuel oil tank that's there needs to be replaced, which is out by the bus garage, or we refer to it as Pete's Garage, basically. So that needs to be replaced. So those are the components to the elementary school capital project upgrades and things that we're looking to do. So mainly infrastructure, health and safety needs at the elementary school. Does anybody have any questions about any of those items? Jen, anything to add to that?
As Amy gets to the junior senior high, so that building is 80 years old.
Yeah.
And although people think that the junior senior high is the new building, it's really 40 years old, or 30 years old, I'm sorry. So Amy will get into, again, some of the same safety and reconstruction that needs to go on at the junior senior high, because nothing has been done in 30 years. And just like some of the board members mentioned, just like your house, we have to do some of the same upkeep with septic sewer systems, ventilation, those types of things. So Amy will get into, and those are kind of like the not exciting things that we have to do, but necessary things that we have to do. And then she'll talk more about the truly the exciting things that I think, or not just for the school district, but for the community, that since Amy has been on board, she's been a huge driving force. It'll be the CTE program, and she'll get into that, but she's definitely one who's driven all of us to get to where will be a great place for the students in the community.
Okay, the maintenance building, or as I referenced, Pete's Garage. So we're not doing too much work out there, but it does need to have some work done. The reason why we're not doing a whole renovation of that building, although it probably needs it, is we don't get, because it's not used for student use, you don't get aid on it. So we're just doing what we need to make sure that it's still safe and usable without spending a lot of money in that area. So we are gonna replace the heating supply piping that goes out to the garage. And we're going to replace lights. They need to be changed out and replaced, and some of them aren't even working. And then in Pete's office, the ceiling is just kind of falling apart. So we're gonna, make it a little bit nicer for him. It needs to be replaced. So doing minimal work there, but enough that we did some work too, in not the last project, but previous project, to do some work on some leaking and stuff that was occurring on the back of the facility. But we're gonna do those for now. So that will take care of that. And then the bus garage, we are gonna be doing some work to the bus garage. Not a lot, but we are gonna do some, let me find that one. The fire alarm system, and that bus garage is the one right across from the junior senior high. So we're gonna replace the fire alarm system. We can't get parts anymore for the fire alarm system that's there, so that needs to be upgraded and replaced. The windows obviously need to be changed out. They haven't been changed. None of it has been changed since the bus garage has been built, and it's honestly still in fairly good shape. But some of the windows need to be replaced, need to be upgraded to more efficient windows. Emergency lighting needs to be changed out and upgraded in the bus garage. The security, so the bus garage is one of the only, besides the maintenance building, it doesn't have swipe card access to get into the building. It's just key. Like our elementary and junior, senior high have swipe card access, so it's more secure. So we'll add that just to one entrance, the main entrance at the bus garage. And we have added some video surveillance cameras at the bus garage, which we didn't have previously, and our own tech people have already taken care of that. So we won't need to do that as part of the project. The cold storage floor needs to be not replaced, but repaired. And then the other part is the maintenance. If you go into the bus garage where the buses are parked, the floor that's in there over time with our winters and snow and salt, it's just eroded a good chunk or many different chunks of the flooring in there. So you can see, I think there was an image, here in the bus garage where you can actually see the rebar and stuff where it's just eroded away. So that's gonna need to be repaired so that it doesn't get worse or need complete replacement. So that needs to be taken care of in the bus garage. And that's the other image that you'll see there, is the fire alarm system that's in the bus garage as well. And these are also, all of these images are part of the newsletter as well on our website. The air handling unit in the bus garage needs to be replaced, and some of the doors and flooring need to be replaced in the building. So again, it's not a huge expense as part of the capital project since we're doing the bulk of the work in the two schools, but they are things that will get worse or will be more costly if we don't take care of them now. So that's what will happen in the bus garage. Any questions on that or the maintenance building that I referenced? Okay. So the bulk of the work is going to be happening at the junior, senior high school. And like Jen said, that at the junior, senior high, even though we all still refer to it, and those of us who have been here, the high school seems like the new building in the district. But the fact of the matter is it was built in 1992. So just like your home that's 30 years old, that you would need to do some upgrades and things like that. So we do have some infrastructure, health and safety needs that need to be addressed in the high school too. And then we'll get into the programming. So one of the big areas is the parking lot. If you've ever driven through the parking lot or tried to drop students off in the parking lot, you'll see that. So it's kind of it's just kind of pull in, drop your kid, and hope that there's nobody gets hurt, honestly, trying to get into the building. So what we don't have is we do have a bus entrance right here, but what we don't have is we don't have a student drop-off area. So people pull in here and they come over to the parking lot and they drop kids off, and kids can kind of basically go into the building from wherever they get dropped off while people are trying to park. So student parking is over here, staff parking is essentially over here, and you do have the green spaces, but they're different. But this diagram actually shows that there'll be a completely separate student drop-off area for students, and they'll have easy access right here into the building. So buses, student drop-off, there'll be crosswalks there, there'll be some fencing, and there'll be separate student and staff parking. So hopefully, we're also going to put an LED electronic sign out by the roadway as people are entering, hopefully to communicate events better to the community as they're coming in. So hopefully that'll be a nice upgrade to safety in the parking lot at the junior, senior high, which has been problematic, honestly, since it was put in. So it wasn't a very well-designed parking lot at the time, and I think this will make it at least a lot safer and allow students to be dropped off close to the building away from people pulling into park. So that's one of the big expenses there. Electronic message board, sidewalks will be replaced. The cafeteria has a patio that was put on as part of the last project, but it was due to cost. It wasn't made as large as it was supposed to because costs had to be filtered elsewhere, which happens sometimes with a project. But the patio that we have is nice, but it doesn't allow for a lot of student seating space. So we would like to expand that a little bit. So on nice weather days, students are able to go outside and eat their lunch, rather than kind of being kind of in a stuffy cafeteria. So when it's a nice day, the cafeteria is very busy and it's packed, and more students would eat out there if it was bigger. So we're going to look to expand that a little bit, and make it larger as it was intended to in the last project. So hopefully make it a nice spot for the students. I already talked about the netting on the softball field. Some of the infrastructure stuff is the boilers in the high school need to be replaced. We have 3 large boilers right now that were installed with the building. And so they're going to replace those with smaller, more efficient boilers, probably several of them, but they'll be, they won't be the massive ones that we have now, and they're a lot more efficient. So those all need to be replaced. The other thing is the fuel oil tank needs to be replaced, again, just like at the elementary school. Some of the brick, some of the masonry on the exterior of the building needs some, not a lot, but some of it needs to be worked on and repaired over time. So those are some of the infrastructure. The other is the ceilings in the hallways have not ever been replaced since it was in, so a lot of those are in need of repair or replacing. So and it should brighten it up a lot. We did in the last project replace the lighting in the corridors and the classrooms to LED lighting, and that was a big improvement. But the ceilings themselves haven't been replaced, so that would be the next phase, is to replace those. And some of the doors, interior doors, need to be replacing. And one of the other big infrastructure items is our septic system. We are trying to coordinate and work with, and Kevin's been very helpful with putting the school in touch with the companies to connect to the county septic out at the road, which was offered to the school quite a while ago. But at the time, the school wasn't in need of doing so. But now the septic system is at its kind of end of life, and we talked, and it just makes sense for us to, rather than to put the money into our own standalone septic system, that we would connect to the town and county system. So the money is there in the project to do so. There's a lot more hoops and paperwork and logistics to work through to do so, because you're working with the school and other agencies to make it come together. So we're hoping that the time frame will work out with this project. If not, we still intend to do it. It's just a matter of hopefully that the timing of this works out with the timing of what everybody else can do with that. So, but we don't see any reason to put another standalone septic system in. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense for us. So I think that's it for the infrastructure and safety things at the high school. So I'll get into the student programming in classrooms. So some of the things that we're looking to do is, so right now we have at the senior high, we have this is a junior high wing over here. This is a senior high wing over here. As you know, just like all the other schools in our area, our enrollment has declined. So trend data is we're probably about where we're going to stay. We don't anticipate a huge influx of student enrollment. We don't anticipate a huge decrease. We did have a significant decrease, everybody has the last 10 years or so. But trend data makes it seem like it's pretty much going to be consistent over the next several years. So with that said, we don't really have a junior high wing and a senior high wing anymore because of our enrollment. We don't necessarily just have teachers teaching 7th grade. They might also have a senior class or a junior class or whatnot. So one of the things when we did some focus groups and received feedback from staff, I met with students last year as we were planning out the project and talked to them about some things that they would like to see as we kind of move forward in our planning. Met with staff, talked to them about it, and got a lot of feedback, is they really wanted the idea of having departments together. So all the math teachers would be together, the social studies teachers would be together, and whatnot. So that they could plan better from a 7 through 12 perspective, and they could work together more collaboratively as a team. So what we thought made sense, along with our, obviously working with our architects, engineers, our construction management firm, and all of the staff, is that one section of the building will be a math science wing, kind of like a STEM wing, and then we'll have a humanities wing, which will be social studies, ELA, foreign languages will be there. And then in this section of the building, which is toward the auditorium and stuff, would be our arts wing, would be art, music, our CTE program would be in this wing of the building. So it would be separated more like that than kind of by age level, which isn't really the case anyway. And then one of the pieces right here is projected to be what we're calling a collaboration space. So this, let's see, this image right here shows kind of the idea. It kind of gives you the feel of like a college classroom almost, where it's very modern, it's very open. It's essentially a double classroom that allows groups of students to work together, or staff can work together too on projects as well. If I was an ELA, an English teacher and a social studies teacher, we might do a shared project together, and there would be enough room, enough space, enough technology, enough seating that would allow students to be able to do so. Also, if students were working on a group project together and they wanted their group to be able to have a space that they could use to get together to work, a collaboration space would allow that. So you can see right here in the diagram is the different kinds of seatings, and then there's some tech space and some technology area, and it can also be used for staff training as well. So that's going to be a really nice feature. All of the classroom ideas for the high school will make it look and feel a lot more modern and more like if you were on a college campus or something like that. So I think the students would really like it. We visited some schools that have done similar renovations last year and this year to take a look at some ideas. So one of the other areas is our science classrooms. Currently, our science classrooms have some equipment in them that either is outdated, doesn't get used, doesn't work. So we're gonna have all the science teachers together in their department, and all the science classrooms will be renovated and upgraded that hopefully allow for some more modernized classes, options, technology, things like that. So a lot of this stuff just needs kind of like, like a refresh, honestly, and make it look and feel nice. So those are some of the areas that we're going to be doing. All of the classrooms in the high school will be renovated as part of this project. So all of them will have, new painting, new casework that will be offered, new furniture. So it's a good opportunity for us to really go and do a redo and renew all the classrooms. Questions about any of that I've talked about? One of the last and probably our biggest area that we're focusing on in this project is our CTE classroom improvements. I say CTE, what a lot of you knew as SHOT or tech, the trades. So we currently have one big open shop area and an office area that's basically used for storage. And I've been working since I started last January with meeting with some people with the workforce development group in Warren County, with our BOCES CTE program. And one of the biggest areas I think that our students brought this up a lot when I was meeting with them in focus groups too, is not really knowing what some of the opportunities are for them post-high school in fields other than college. And let's face it, college isn't for everybody. And 75% of students who go to four-year schools drop out. And then on top of that, most students don't finish in 4 years. They finish in 6 years, the average, which then incurs 2 more years of student loan debt, which is the second biggest debt in our country. So we have done, I feel, in my opinion, a disservice to many students by pushing college for everybody. And I'm not saying our school district, I'm saying our country, I'm saying our state. And now we're at this critical point in our society where we don't have people to do the work, to do jobs that are good paying jobs, and our students don't even know what those opportunities are. So one of the things that I'm very passionate about is giving our kids opportunities to know what those opportunities are, so that when they get out of high school, they have a good opportunity, because I want our kids to stay in this community I want them to pay taxes in this community, I want them to be, productive members of society. And there are jobs for them here in this community and our region that they don't even know about, because companies can't find people to work, and we have a student population here that many of them are interested in those kinds of positions. And a lot of them make more money than four-year college graduates do, and they don't even know it. And schools haven't really been provided the resources to know what the steps are to get those jobs. Now, let's face it, I went to school, I went to college, I didn't have to work in the industry, so how would I know what those steps were? It's not a knock against any of our school employees or our counselors, but it's not anything that any of them were trained to teach kids. But we have people in the industry, people in the communities who want these kids to be able to be employed, and we have a perfect opportunity to help collaborate and work with them to give them the opportunity. So we've been meeting with the Northeast Carpenters Union, the Pipe Fitters Union, Barton Mines, others are, and I actually have hired an additional tech teacher this year who came from Virginia doing 10 years in the construction trades program, who's done just that. And he's already started, we're already working on with state ed and the CTE Tax Center to get a certified program here in our district for our students. And several of our schools who are north of us, places like Indian Lake or Screw Lake or Long Lake, they don't even send their students to BOCES because it's too far. We're sending our kids to BOCES, so we have transportation costs on top of it, and our kids are traveling to BOCES an hour a day, and an hour a day could be time that they are here in our district, or they're working in the field doing internships or pre-apprenticeship programs. We could have kids that get out and go right into an apprenticeship program, making really good money and get additional training, and we're not providing those opportunities, and I feel it's our responsibility to do so. So we will have 2 design classrooms. When you look at here's the 2 classrooms, which is we refer to as clean spaces, where they'll have all the technology that they need, where people used to draw on graph paper, now they use computers to do it. So they have design space, and then in the back, they go to the open shop area where we'll have, upgraded, what we need to do is the money is upgraded equipment, welding, all of that stuff. So they'll get, in this program, they'll get some exposure to electric, to plumbing, to welding, to all a little smattering of everything, and then kind of choose which area they would like to gravitate to. And then we'll connect with industries to provide internship opportunities for them, and hopefully more of our students will feel like they can make a good living here in our area. So that's a big part of the project. Questions about any of that?
Actually, I don't have a question, but
Okay.
I'm fully support that particular. How many 30 and 40-year-olds have no idea how to change electrical status, anything?
Mhm.
And so it's not necessarily jobs.
Yeah.
It's living.
Yeah, like so. So that's a big push, and it's a lot of work, and we've already started working on it now, even though the project is, the build of the project is a ways out, because we want to, once as we move toward getting the facility that we want, we want it to be seamless. So many of the schools that I spoke to, the superintendents north of us, are very excited and happy about sending their students to us to participate, because they don't have this kind of program and they're not sending them to BOCES. So we could be a resource for, other schools as well here in our region. So that's kind of, and Jen, I don't know if you want to talk at all about the funding at all or anything as far as the finances go.
Probably the biggest, obviously Amy just talked about the fact that it's 0% tax impact on you. And how we got there was through some careful long-range planning that was started before I got there. It just continued on that path. And basically what happens is we have these large projects, we bond for them, we have to make bond payments on an annual basis, but sooner or later those payments end. And so when those payments end, what we want to keep going, what we want to do is keep these projects going. So as the debt falls off, we incur more debt, but the one of the advantages of doing that is we get 80% of our project money gets reimbursed through state aid. So we get building aid that comes in. So that's kind of the formula that's used as to why it's a 0% and why we have started going down that road, and we want to keep that up. So this is really the second large project that the district will have that'll start the district down that road of keeping our infrastructure up, keeping the health and safety of our students number one, being able to change some of the programs or focus more on some of the programs that Amy just talked about as well. So just a little bit more about how that all works and why it's going to work for the district moving forward. We'll continue that type of plan.
Yeah, and I think one of the biggest things as far as student programming is we're really just trying to diversify options for students because we all know that all kids are different and all kids learn differently. So I think by some of the programming we're doing here and some of the stuff that we've even implemented this year, like we changed out all of our AP classes, which we used to use for college credit, and most kids weren't getting college credit. So we actually swapped those out, and this year we're providing 4 Syracuse University courses that kids can get college credit through Syracuse University. That's a 95% transfer rate. So I think the goal is, when I talk about the CT, that's a big part of the capital project, but we're really trying to look at having programs for students that meet all of the students' needs, whether you're college bound, 2-year, 4-year, military trades, 2-year trades, 4-year apprenticeship. And really that is our job, to prepare kids for whatever they feel that they want to do to be successful in life, whether, whatever that path is, because every kid could have a different path. And it's our job to kind of, give them the opportunity so that they can do so. So on October 25th, we have our vote. And what I would ask you to do is just kind of share out what we're trying to do with people that you know and encourage them to come vote on October 25th. Because once we have the capital project vote and, hopefully it's approved, and we can then just move forward with all the steps that we need to do to kind of to do the work, and kind of dig in and do the work. So that's kind of why we're here. We wanted to spread the word and let you know what we're doing, and hopefully you'll share that out with people that you know in the community as well. So, okay. Anything else? Sorry.
Any questions? Brian?
No, I like it.
Okay.
No, thank you.
I know when we met last week over the firehouse, it's a little different group and they're not afraid. But, one thing I will say about the school, they've worked very well with the town. We married up to 2 programs of education and the summer rec program this year. We did it 4 days a week. I'd like to expand it to 5 days a week next year. It seemed to come off pretty good without a hitch. The school has helped us with swim programs at the beach. They got the grant. They approached us. We're able to teach swim lessons at Echo Lake again, something that's been dearly missing. And all our collaboration with the school, and it's a 2-way street. We help the school helps us. And whether it be a snowstorm where maybe Pete gets a little bogged down, Ed may swing in there with a plow truck or just to help him out. But I'm enthused about this program. Amy and I talked about it this spring a little bit. I think it's the right move for this community and the right move for Warrensburg. But I can tell you, we do collaborate very well. And I do track the tax rate. And I will say the tax rate in the school district has gone down for the last 3 years. It may have not gone down a lot a couple of years ago, but the rate this year dropped almost $1 something per thousand, which is unheard of for us here in town. So, but the only way we're ever going to improve that is for us to get more business in town. And that's one of the things that we as a town board and the master plan, they need to start thinking about. We've got to get some business in this community to raise our tax base. So, but I want to thank Amy and Jen for coming. And I think it's exciting. And I think as long as we keep supporting the school and making the right choices, as she said, we're trying to make the right choices for the kids so they will stay in the community. So it always hasn't been that way. So I appreciate you coming tonight, and I appreciate both of you. Any questions from the audience? Well, very good.
Okay.
Good.
Thank you very much for your time.
Yes, thank you. Okay. Thank you. I we ready? All right, Pam, you want to give your town clerk's report?
Okay, the monthly report for September 2022. Marriage license fees of $105. Clerk fees are $59. Public health fees, $150. Landfill fees and punch cards, $18,790. Transient merchant, $250. IPP permits, $6,150. Short-term vacation rentals, $2,100, bringing a total of $8,500. Dog licensing, $241. Building permits of $42, and septic permits of $10, bringing the total local shares remitted to $27,897.
Okay, supervisor's report for the month of September. We now have on hand $3,567,751.25. Assessor's report.
Assessor's report for October. As conveyed in last month's report, your assessor was in attendance at New York State Assessors Association Annual Fall Conference in Lake George on September the 18th to the 23rd. Aside from yearly legislative updates and other related businesses, your assessor took the following assessments related classes: sales, review, verification, and corrections, evaluation of Airbnb properties, the cost approach, practical application to utility properties. Now that the COVID-19 emergency has been lifted, we will start sending out our senior citizens renewals, which we got scheduled for early next January. This process allows us to review senior citizens' income and apply it to their property in order to assist seniors who fall in this category to obtain savings on their property taxes. Preparations for the 2023 rolls continue during the next few months. We plan on taking photos of newly constructed or otherwise modified properties that have been completed. Very preliminary.
Justice?
Justice report for October. Judge Fisk heard 70 cases, collected fines of $5,350, fees of $440, surcharges of $2,502. Judge Ferrello heard 87 cases, collected fines of $6,472, $182 in fees, and surcharges of $2,722. Total cases in September were 95. Total dollars received September, $17,668, and the town share of August, $6,413.
Brian, planning?
There were 1 septic and 3 land use development permits issued the month of September. The planning board nor the zoning board will have meetings this month due to lack of applications. We're expecting documentation from the engineer for the Warrensburg Travel Parks expansion. If that comes in, the planning board will review that on November 1st.
Okay. As far as code enforcement, most of Jim's time this past month, he's had a few permit violations. A lot of his time's been straightening out the short-term rentals between what the town has and what the county has. I think we're up to like 75 short-term rentals now. And a lot of the short-term rentals, say up in Green Mansions, are actually Warrensburg. We should be collecting the occupancy tax from them, and we're straightening out with Warren County. We did have 2 complaints come in on short-term rentals this past month. One complaint was on Milton Avenue, which we dove into, and the second one is on Lake Avenue. And both were handled by Jim promptly, and we are in conversation with the short-term rental folks. But other than that, and then of course the garage sale, he spent a lot of time on the garage sale at the end of September and October, but most of his time is spent on short-term rental and building codes and dealing with complaints somewhat this past month. And we'll have more to say about that in the month of October. And we'll have a report on the garage sale in the month of October, I hope. So beautification.
Teresa Whalen, beautification. Community Guard members are cleaning out their beds in preparation for the long winter's nap. Garlic will be planted for an early July harvest of scapes and later in the month heads. The rhubarb bed was bountiful this year, as in years past, and added to our bundles sold at the festival in June. The pollinator perennial bed in the rear of the garden inside the fence is doing well and safe from the hungry deer that have made too many visits to our home gardens. Many thanks to Tracy Benoit and the Parks and Recreation Department for replenishing the water in the tank, along with Ed Panic and the Highway Department for the much improved access to the park. The boulders lining the roadway, the parking across the road from the garden, and the future refining of the area has made a huge difference, and we are very appreciative for all of the effort. The new kiosk with signage supplied by Warren County's First Wilderness Quarter initiative will provide guidance and education for visitors and residents. Considering the many challenges that nature provided this year, all in all, it was a great growing season. The 9th Apple Festival at the Farmers Market was held on September 16th. An apple dessert contest with free sampler plates was offered. Additional local farms and artisans joined our market vendors. Saratoga Apple donated apples to give to children, and Bull Hill donated pie pumpkins for decorating. Shelby Burkhart, director of Richards Library, offered free children's activities, including an apple-themed take-home craft and Harmon hand and arm painting. Live music by Peter Burrell, free cups of locally roasted coffee, HHHN tote bag giveaway, and a free chance to win farmers market bucks added to the festivities. Ethan Gaddy from Warren County Planning was also there to make the most of the event, sharing information about the downtown revitalization and New York Forward grant. On a sad note, our Ag Committee has lost a champion, Nate Darrow, founder and owner of Saratoga Apple, who passed on September 20th. Saratoga Apple was the inspiration for our festival. Next year, we will dedicate the event in his honor and to the contribution he and his wife, Christine, have made to local ag in our region. The 13th Garlic Festival at the Farmers Market was held on October 7th, with people coming from near and far to celebrate all that is garlic. Many varieties of garlic were available, in addition to value-added products such as caramelized onion and roasted garlic jam, garlic fudge, black garlic, and garlic dill pickles, to name a few. Our Garlicky Food Contest had entries in categories including appetizers, soups, breads, dipping sauces, and desserts. Recipes were available and shared. Our Master Gardener station was busy answering garlic growing questions and handing out packets of material which included both horticulture and recipes for both scapes and cloves. Additional local farms and artisans joined our market vendors. Once again, Shelby Burkhart, director of Richards Library, offered a free children's garlic and Halloween-themed craft workshop. Live music by George Parrott, free cups of locally roasted coffee, another HHHN tote bag giveaway, and free chance to win market bucks. Chris Round from Labella Associates was also there with a presentation board and flyers to spread the word about the upcoming comprehensive plan public workshop on October 27th from 5 to 7 at the firehouse. The event this year was dedicated to the memory of Elizabeth Rugen, owner of Hope Valley Farm with her husband Richard, and the inspiration for the Garlic Festival. Local harvest dinner at Lizzie Keys was held on Monday, October 10th. Farm-to-table experience with 40 people sitting at one of the two tables was a first ever for our event. Locally sourced ingredients from our market farms and others, and each course paired with either wine, beer, or distilled spirits, all produced regionally. The 4-course meal was served family style, with choices of appetizers, super salad, and entrees. Chef Jessica Monroe came out of the kitchen to a hearty round of applause by all those who enjoyed the meal and appreciated the effort. This is our 15th local harvest dinner, which brings visitors as well as residents out to support local ag and locally owned restaurants. Thank you.
Thank you. Highway.
Well, the month of September, we fixed all of our dirt roads, filling washouts from some of the early September heavy rains. We've dug up a bad, rough intersection on Stacy Street and Burdick Ave and repaved the intersection, paved over the new culvert on Alden Avenue, and continued cutting brush on our roads throughout town. The second half of September, we milled and blacktopped Library Ave Extension, Browns Court, Hastings Street, Beswick, Hoffman Drive, Jetty Jill Drive, Jetty Jill Loop, and Echo Lane. With the help from our neighboring highway departments, put up all the, they help with the paving, and then the boys put up the no parking signs for the garage sale. Also a reminder that brush and leaf pickup for October through 17th through October 21st and October 24th through October 28th. There will be no pickup after these dates.
Yeah, and I appreciate the work of the highway department. I don't know if you've taken a ride over Jenny Joe, much needed. Right now, we're targeting another area of town, hopefully next year if it works out. We're gonna try to do a little bit more paving. Peckham Roads does an excellent job for us, and we got quite a few roads done over in that area. They're long overdue. We have another area that's long overdue, and I've been talking with Eddie about it. And if we could find a way to get several other roads done next year in one particular area, it'll be up off of Ridge down in that area. It's long overdue to have all those roads resurfaced and done properly. So I think we're going to try to tackle that next year if we can find the funding. So, but it's a great job over there. He did a lot of work with a little bit of money, and that's the way we have to operate. But he does a great job. Now he's preparing for winter. So we'll see where that goes. Also, he takes care of the Japanese knotweed when we can. We had some, we have a gentleman we found it right here in Peck Forest that does it, and we're gonna have him go out and deal with more spots that need to be taken care of the Japanese knotweed. So that was good. The one over there on Oak Street is one he took care of, which has been there for a long time. So I'm proud of the highway department and all the work they do. So economic development.
At the October meeting, the major portion of the conversation was devoted to an expanded understanding of the various grants available to the communities in Warren County. Our discussion elaborated on what and how these grants function. To name a few, there is the Community Development Block Grant, DRI, which is Downtown Revitalization Initiative, the New York Forward, and the Main Street Renewal Grant. Originally, our committee was tasked with putting together an application for a CDBG or Community Development Block Grant, which potentially could be in the amount of $400,000, and proposed to assist homeowners, and its purpose is proposed to assist homeowners residing in their homes and in need of some assistance keeping up with needed repairs. The application has been successfully submitted, and we await the results. Immediately following the last town board meeting, the committee was asked to assist Warren County initiative to apply for the New York Forward Grant, which could potentially have a major impact on Warrensburg and a central part of our Main Street. The committee was happy to assist, and we provided a good deal of the information required to complete the app. We look forward to hearing some positive results. The other grants out there have been discussed and the potential options for 2023. And we recommend that the committee continue the application process and the board raise the EDC budget to this year's amount of $10,000, as we, as a committee, have determined that this would be the appropriate amount to be in a position to have the necessary assistance from the paid professionals to complete the applications for all of these available grants. We would also like to state that that completing grant applications was not the original intended goal of the committee, and we have several other tasks at hand that we have taken a back seat to the grant application process due to the learning curve for the team. Now that everyone on the committee has a more complete understanding of the grant process, we can refocus a portion of our time and energy to a broader overview and a more balanced approach to work we do. We continue to meet on the first Monday of the month at 10 a.m. at the town hall, and we recently made an addendum to this schedule to account for holidays, in which case we will meet on the second Monday of the month. Respectfully, Rick Clark.
Okay, the landfill report, we're still in the black, $19,981.77, $19,981.77 in the black at the landfill, which is probably one of the few transfer station that is in the black. So anything on lighting, John?
No, just we're waiting to hear from National Grid to give us a cost estimate on, we have to purchase the existing fixtures on the poles before they can be replaced with new ones for the LED program we're hoping for. So we're patiently waiting for results from the National Grid.
Okay. Historian, Sandy?
Sandy Parisi, Town Historian. I attended the Warrensburg Historical Society meetings, September Town Board meeting. Warren County Historian and historians met in my office on September 11th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. We discussed the upcoming celebration for the Revolutionary War. Received a call from Phil Herzig, who will be coming in October. He is looking for his Harrington relatives going back to Orrin Harrington prior to 1812. Worked on Warren County's historian's request for 4 to 5 dates in Warrensburg's history for a Warren County calendar, also a photo. Continue filing daily and weekly news items along with births and deaths, also entering all graduates going back to the 1800s. We'll be needing a few yearbooks that I don't have, so we'll put an article in the newspaper when I have finished all that I have in my office. Conducted a tour of the homes on Main Street from Richards Avenue to the bandstand and then down Elm Street back to Richards Avenue. This was a continuing education class from Adirondack Community College. I gave the history of the homes and the people that lived there, and Delbert Chambers talked about the architecture. I have been asked to do another one in May of next year. Wendy continues working on the school notebooks. Shirley West came in for information on the West family and Ash's Hotel. On September 21st, I added the 31,000th name in the Ancestry program. It's quite a history of Warrensburg and Thurman people. Museum. On September 4th and 18th, I guided at the museum. Continue entering Thurman items in Past Perfect. Continue working with Laura on weeding out items to make more room as the storage space is quite full. Shar and I have begun to organize and label all boxes in both of the archive storerooms. September deaths, the 10th, Dorothy Dill Wright, 17th, Yvonne R. Vernum, and the 22nd, Paul G. Zaffo. Office hours 30.5. Wendy came into the office 2 days. Museum hours 9.5 plus 2 days guiding. Volunteer, Shar Bavona, 2 days.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Sandy. Laura, museum?
During the month of September, we held our first annual chicken barbecue event. We sold over 200 chickens, and a portion of those funds will go to the VFW. We also held our Sticky Wicket event. It was fun to see 2 croquet masters go at it. For September, we had 28 visitors. For the third quarter, we had 156 visitors overall, which is a good turnout. I noted some inquiries from Henry Schwartz in regards to donating a sharpening stone, correspondence in reference to a child from Truman's, New York, wanting information. Tony Sorrento was looking for information on Devil's Kitchen in High Rock. And then in regards to upcoming events, we will have Christmas in Warrensburg, the 3rd and the 4th, and we'll have postal cancellation that day. And then in November, sorry to step back, as Bicentennial Book Committee will start to be meeting.
Thank you, thank you. I'll do these reports, John, for you.
Thanks.
It's an inside joke.
It is.
Yeah, we've started fall, this is Parks and Rec. We have started fall cleanup and winterizing the parks while still mowing. We have been busy prepping for the garage sale, which they were very busy for the garage sale. And again, thank you to that crew for cleaning up the town after the garage sale. And it's quite a task. And being a 3-day event, you pick up 1 extra day, but they've kind of got it down to a science. So like I said, we'll have a better report once we talk to Suzanne on how the garage sale made out at the next meeting. On the sewer report, we pulled the aeration chain on cell 3 and replaced the old diffusers with new diffusers. The air hose was disconnected from the diffuser. We repaired the damaged hose that connects to the diffuser. The UV system had 3 bulbs that needed to be replaced. The elementary school sewer was backed up. We used 1,500 gallons of water to flush out the manholes of debris. We also had a sewer tap on the corner of Marion and Main Street to put in. We continue to battle through overabundance of sludge in the lagoons. And I'm happy to report that we're almost there with the being able to start to dredge the lagoons. Our company that we hired to do that should be mobilizing in the next week or two so we can clean out those lagoons, which will last us at least the rest of my tenure here, and a lot longer than that. But that's a good project. It's an expensive project, but it needed to be done. On the water report, 2 meters were removed and water was shut off. 1 meter was installed and water turned on. Also, 1 meter was checked for squealing. We met with Cedarwood Engineering on the discussion on how to change the water and sewer rates. The meters were read on September 23rd and bills are being sent out. We met with the contractors doing the water transmission line and they are ready to start as soon as National Grid signs off. We'll be flushing hydrants week of October 17th, so expect some discoloration. And that's from Tracy. And on the transmission line, today we had just 1 or 2 minor issues with National Grid. We're trying to clean up. Hopefully we'll get them cleaned up by next week, and the contractors are going to mobilize and replace the water line from the tank to the water system. So that will be done. That hasn't been done since they put that water tank in. So this will be a new line coming into the water system, which is very important for the town. At night, the water pumps up to the tank. And in the daytime, if we have a big draw on it, we use it. But it's mainly for fire protection. And it definitely needs to be replaced. Our friends at National Grid have held us up a little bit, but the work will happen in the next 3-4 weeks. And then on the sewer, I told you about that. And then the other project we have to do now is we have to replace the water line that goes across the bridge between Warrensburg and Lake George. We've hired a contractor for that. That is like any of the supply chain things. We're waiting on the pipe. We got fortunate. We're able to get some ductile pipe to do it. We thought we were going to have to use plastic pipe. We don't have to use plastic pipe. They found ductile, which is better for us. And we've hired a contractor to do that. And hopefully that will be done in the next 2 or 3 weeks. So those are all big projects we're doing in the water sewer area. And then, as I said, they want to flush hydrants. So they're going to do that on the 17th. Ed wants to pick up brush and leaves for a couple weeks. And we want to keep people to those timeframes. And after he finishes, obviously, he wants to move on to other projects that he has to do for a fall, like getting the trucks ready for winter. So I ask everybody to be diligent about this. And I think the notices are on our website, correct, Dan? And then I think they've been in the paper or they will be in the paper. So just if you see your neighbors, tell them to watch out for these things that are going to happen. Okay, we talked about the tax cap. Is there any other discussion on the tax cap before I ask for a vote to override? Can I have a motion to override the tax cap? Motion by John, second by Rich to override the tax cap for 2023. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Next will be a request to raise the sewer rates by $25 per quarter. As I said, we are in a big maintenance push on our sewer plant, and those rates have not been touched much since 2008 was the first time we did a lot. In 2017, we may have made some minor changes to this, but this is the first time, and this is basically to cover the maintenance of the plant. We're going to fall behind with this sewer project, so it'll be the first time we raised any of the rates in that district in a long time. And we still are working about changing the rate system to match water. Will be water in, water out system in the near future. That's a fair way of charging for sewer. We hope to do that, but that's a work in progress. So I need permission to raise the rate $25. Motion by John, second by Brian to raise the rate $25 per quarter. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. As I said, the public notice on hydrant flushing is out there October 17th through the 28th. And they usually do it quicker than the time frame we have on our thing, but there could be discoloration. And then the public notice on fall brush and leaf pickup. And then the next, I need to set a public hearing on the 2023 budget for October 26th at 4:30 PM.
So move, Kevin.
Motion by John, second by Brian to set the public hearing for October 26th, 2022 at 4:30 PM. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Reminders, the comprehensive plan workshop will be October 27th at the firehouse. It'll be in the old firehouse. It'll be from 5 to 7 PM. I think their plan is to do breakout sessions that night. So that gives us a little more room than if we did it here or at the school. And we don't have the same criteria as school is such security orient now. It's very difficult to have meetings after hours at the school where we can do them over there. And there's plenty of room. And they are going to serve refreshments. They told me to entice you to attend. There'll be refreshments from Oscar. So if that gets anybody up out of your chair and want to go, hopefully you'll be there. And then my last reminder is the fire company Halloween parade will be held October 31st, as it always is. It starts at 4 o'clock. It starts down here at the parking lot, Hudson Headwaters. And this year we will be marching up to the school, and we're going to use the school gymnasium for the judging, and it's a safety. We pride ourselves in safe time for all the kids. We ask you to bring all the kids. We supply the candy. You don't have to worry about any candy getting over there that we don't know about. We have balloons. We have a good time. We have trophies, and we want everybody to enjoy themselves and get back to doing normal things like we've done in the past. So that's it for my agenda tonight. We do have a budget modification. The budget modification is taking $6,250 out of appropriate fund balance and moving it into medical center rent in the amount of $6,250. And the reason for that is at the end of 2021, we never got the bill to pay the health center rent in 2021. So we paid actually five quarters of rent in 2022. So we had to take money out of the fund balance. What we didn't pay them last year went to fund balance this beginning of this year. So it's just a budget modification to transfer 1 quarter rent, which is $6,250 from our balance to pay the rent for this month. So a motion to pay that, motion by Rich, second by Brian to do this budget modification amount of $6,250. And then budget transfers, and the first one is changing the account. And this is just changing the account on the state aid per capita that we get from the state of New York. We're moving from code A3001, and I believe we're putting it into code A2750. And the state aid that we budgeted in 2022 was $15,976. So that's one of the transfers. The second transfer will be to take $3,192.11 out of the beach contractual. This is leftover money that we had at the beach. We're moving $1,200 into buildings electric. We're moving $500 into buildings fuel. We're moving $1,000 into garage fuel, and we're putting $492.11 into museum fuel. And that's to transfer for future expenditures. And then in the sewer district, we have a $10,000 transfer from sewer equipment, $10,000 from equipment, and we're putting into sanitary sewers electric because the electric bills are skyrocketed when we run our diffusers and stuff at the sewer plant. And then next, last but not least, we're taking $10,000 out of water purification equipment, and we're moving it into source of supply electric, which again is to run the wells, and then that's an amount of $10,000, and both of these are to cover national grid costs. So somebody want to make a motion? Motion by Brian, second by John to do the budget transfers. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. The warrant this month is $322,264.37. The majority of that is in the highway department, and that is for the paving that we did. So that is nothing that we didn't expect we knew this was coming, and most of that is reimbursed by state aid, which we'll be getting in the month of December. So motion to pay the claims, motion by John, second by Brian to pay the claims on warrant number 10 in the amount of $322,264.37. All those in favor? Aye. Okay. Open up for any comments from the public. Anybody wish to address, please come up and try to get to the microphone. Danny, can we pull that chair over a little closer to the microphone so that if in case I want to sit? Thank you. Okay, thank you.
I'm Sarah Gebby Misek. I'm on the Board of Trustees for the Richards Library.
Okay.
And I just wanted to stop by and remind the town that we have a lot of programs every month. Our director, Shelby Burkhart, has done a wonderful job coming up with new programs and using the staff that we have for their expertise. We have one of our employees is great at technology, and he offers a tech help every week for anybody who needs help with anything on a computer. We have other employees that are really great at coming up with children's programs. We have a make and take bag that kids can pick up on Friday, make the craft at home. Just trying to add more things for all sorts of people to be able to come to the library and find something that they can use and that they can benefit from. So we have a monthly program list every month. Shelby puts it on our website. And it's also in the library if you want to come in and pick it up. So again, Richards Library open, and we have lots of things to do. So please come in.
Appreciate it. And hopefully, Danny, you'll get a copy. We can get that schedule on the town website if we don't already.
And Shelby's she's going to try to email it to both town clerks, the Warrensburg and Thurman, every month. So
Thank
you
you.
guys have it.
I appreciate it. Anybody else? Remember, the first pitch is 8:30 something, so I'm gonna cut you off.
This is a quickie, and it's in your favor. Because of the temperature and the museum, again, this year, we who usually work on Thursdays will be working at my office.
Okay.
So that we don't turn the heat on except for the times when we have events and whatever. So if you want to come to my office, Laura, you're more than welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I usually don't make a comment, but I just want to announce that the Bolton Warrensburg boys are still undefeated, and they will be going into their league championship game on this Friday against Fort Ann. So
You're gonna
Sorry.
jinx them. That's why I didn't say anything about the teams. Don't jinx them if they don't do well.
I know you want to be home by 8:30.
I'll be all right.
Just a quick report on our summer concert season.
Yeah, sure.
We averaged 88 people a night. It was absolutely marvelous. We had in Fort Edward, Hudson Falls, Sagadaga Lake area, Hadley, North Creek, Weavertown, Johnsburg. Wonderful bands. I did good. No, you did good. Thank you for letting me do it. I hope I can do it next year. Because I had a lot of fun.
Music mecca here in Warrensburg.
What?
Music mecca, right?
Yeah, I think they're used to the pavilion and coming to the rec field. I think they like it. And no, we plan on, we'll get your list of the,
The pavilion is easy for people that have problem walking.
right.
Because they've learned they can back right in.
Yeah.
We had Countryside Adult Home, 3 weeks, brought 2 vans full of people.
That's important.
Yeah.
That you get them out.
So everybody had a good time. That's a perfect spot for it. And thank you for letting me be a part of it.
Okay.
Claire, in Lake George, the mayor sells beer at their music night. Mayor Blaze, so we.
Oh, I'm sorry. I only took 2 minutes.
Oh, no, I said in Lake George, Mayor Blaze sells beer at their music nights in Shepherd's Park. So we got a little beer booth they set up, so maybe something Kevin wants to look into. I don't know.
We can't even get ice cream over here. Come on, Brian.
Well, we could if you girls weren't too cheap and would buy some.
Maybe in the future, there'll be a dispensary over there.
Yeah, that's right. Anybody else wish to address the board on any topic tonight? No? Nobody? I can't incite you? You got a few minutes. No, we are proud of the soccer teams, both the boys and the girls. We are proud of what they're doing in all fall sports up there. Football teams, I won't say what their record is, but they're doing it all right. Okay, because I don't want to jinx them. But we're on a roll, and, you know, this summer, the boys and girls Middle League baseball team won again. The boys won. It was sponsored by the fire company. The Aftershock, which they don't really have a sponsor, they won. And, you know, Corey Olden and Mike Curtis coached them. So we put out a little thank you ad the fire company did for them. And we're hoping we'll be able to do the same thing for all the teams and everybody who's doing a good job this fall in Warrensburg. So we're really happy. I go to every game, so haven't made soccer yet because you never know where they're playing. But so nobody else has anything? Okay, all I can say is go Dodgers. So motion to adjourn. Thank you. Thank you all for coming. National Grid.